They don't think you could do it, but tell you to try when they talk. All I hope had to keep it alive. Spend a day in the Bronx, but you wouldn't survive. Can be low when I pop out, they know I've arrived. I go have conversations with Zoe, he gon' tell me pull up and come say what you know. I've been up, I can count all them days in a row. We don't say what we do, we be making the show. They say I'll be
the voice of the Bronx. We have Bronx Slam with the guys that are out here. Can I get a
yeah? Leave them all right where they at. Try to diss me, I bet I don't even react. Put a show and I bet you somebody gon' I pick me a book up and drink me some water, invest in the stock. All them kids on me back.
You think, lose. So where you going after this? I'm like, I can't take you, bro.
You lose friends because of that too,
bro. Yeah, because man, that's a whole thing too.
I got friends that co-parent, but they like not really good at co-parenting. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, like for instance, my son was born June 29th, 2020, right?
Yeah.
That's July 4th weekend.
Yeah.
Yo, bro, you trying to slide? Yo, where am I going?
Where am I going? Bro, I have a fucking newborn. What are you talking about?
5 days old.
Yeah,
bro.
like.
Peace and love, world. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Zoe. We are at episode 128. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, take out the time to support your guy. We're here today with my guy, HP Rainey. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have told me about this guy. We've connected. We've taken our time. But here we are today. I'm going to start right here. Bronx up till I'm dead.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go, man. Where in the Bronx you from?
Originally, I was born in Manhattan, but immediately I came to 170 in the concourse.
Mm-hmm.
Then I spent the majority of my young life from being a baby to middle school between 165 and 170. My grandma lived on 170 and my mom lived on 165. Mm-hmm. Then right at the start of high school, I moved to Fordham and Webster area, right around there. And now I live on East Tremont. So
okay.
Yeah, so kind of everywhere. But my formative years were spent on at 1153 Grand Concourse. So yeah.
I was on Grand Concourse, 190 by the Ortiz Funeral Home.
Yeah.
So I was there, but I was only 2 years old. And then I spent my whole life on 158th and Brook.
Word.
Yeah,
Word.
So I was right there in the South Bronx.
Yeah.
I'm saying 29 years old, Dominican, at show Desus Mero crew.
Yeah. Desus Mero, R.I.P. the brand.
Yeah, let's stop right there.
Oh boy.
We can stop right there.
Oh boy.
So what does being Dominican mean to you?
Being Dominican means a lot of things. I think culturally it's probably one of the most it's probably one of the richest, most copied cultures in New York, at least.
That's a fact.
It's also one of the most confusing things to be when it comes to the conversation surrounding race versus ethnicity versus culture and all that shit. Because being Dominican, when where you fit in that conversation is also pretty confusing. Also, I've never met a Dominican that wasn't funny. That shit is just in us. I don't know why or how, but being Dominican is fucking cool. I wouldn't if I could come back as anything, I'd choose Dominican every time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I think that shit is fucking dope, and that sense of culture, especially after fucking I guess now centuries of erasure, between after indigenous genocide and you know what I mean, the conquistadors and all that shit, and then fucking dictatorship and Trujillo and all that shit, bro. Even after all of that, bro, that shit still persists, and there's something uniquely I don't know. There's just something unique about being Dominican that there's no. I mean, I guess you could say that about any culture, but because that's what I am, that's how I feel. So but yeah, there's just something distinctly fucking genuine about being Dominican, I guess,
So the show Desus Mero crew.
Yeah.
So were you a part of that crew?
Yeah. I worked on that show. Yeah. I ran the TikTok almost exclusively. By almost, by almost, I mean I was the only one with the login. But as far as edits and stuff, I had a great fucking team behind me. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Dean the Machine. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Amelia. Shout out to Paulie. You know what I'm saying? Tim. Everybody in the fucking socials dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Love you guys. Still want to fucking work with y'all. Still, shout out to YC on Twitter. I worked with him as well. So yeah, that's what that means, is that I ran the TikTok for Desus Mero, and it was really fucking fun. And like, I feel like people say like, oh, don't, like entertainment is hell, right? Like, don't work with your heroes. And I'm like, damn, I guess I hit the fucking lotto, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because like, working with my heroes was fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? Like a hero as far as like Mero, right? Because like Mero, I see myself, like Mero sees himself in me a lot. Like he tells me this constantly, and like we still like we're pretty close. And he was like, yo, like I feel like you're me 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like 2 kids deep. You know what I'm saying? Like Dominican, also from the Bronx. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of similarities there. And he's like, yo, I see the same drive in you, so that's why I chose you to do the shit. And like he was right. Like I was super insecure about running socials. You know what I mean? And he just let me fly. You know what I mean? And he was like, yo, just do what you do. And like 4 months later, we were at like 60K. And then right as the show was tanking, we hit 1 million likes on TikTok, like less than 6 months into the platform being live.
What do you mean by the show is tanking?
Like it was on its, like literally we had found out that we no longer had jobs, like in the middle of hiatus. Wow. Like people were in Italy and like on vacation and had just found out they were no longer making money.
Did you see it coming to an end?
No, I didn't. Regardless of how anybody felt about anything, everybody was under the same impression that the gravy train needed to roll. Like everybody was under the impression that too many people need to eat off this for us to move crazy. So when the network decided what they decided, which was, oh, we're not coming back mid hiatus, literally all of us were like, what the fuck is going on? What, you know, like, so yeah, no, I did not see that shit happening.
It was the network that decided not to bring them back, and it wasn't, so they don't got problems with each other.
I can't speak to that.
Got you.
I can't. Like, genuinely, I can't. Because okay, this thing happened on Reddit where I was like, right after the show ended, I was like, yo, I just want to thank Mero, you know what I'm saying, for being a beacon for me and like getting me in the door. And like, Reddit took that to mean like, oh, damn, he's shading Desus. And I'm like, bro, I'm not shading nobody. It's just Mero's the one that hired me. Mero's the one that scouted me. And he's the one that's been mentoring me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the absence of information is not the confirmation of another thing.
Yeah.
You know? Like it's not the confirmation of your personal biases or whatever. You know what I mean? So like me thanking Mero for literally getting me in the fucking door, that's not shading Desus, bro. Yeah, that's crazy. Like what the fuck? You know?
I can see how people could run with that narrative.
Yeah.
With especially how people negatively always try to turn people against each other. Yeah. And you weren't even on that time, so, you know.
Yeah. And the fandom was starting to get a little toxic, like, because they were reading into, like, there was a running joke that like Desus never laughed at anything Mero said. And like, you know, and like just little shit like that like piled on over the years and stuff, to the point where like, yo, if you breathe enough life into something, that shit is gonna be true.
That shit's gonna be true, yeah.
You know, like whether it is factually true or not, the internet's gonna cultivate this fucking circle around whatever the fuck it is you saying, to the point where like motherfuckers gonna take that shit as Bible, bro. Like it's fucking weird.
I mean, part of it was, I mean, however it ended, they're not day ones, right? They met like on Twitter and then made the show and things like that. So they're not like they weren't best friends.
No. They became close on Twitter. And like, and Mero was kind of like, Mero had that lingo, right? Like that fucking like, you know, I know we like to get spicy on conversations with Zoe, but I'm gonna refrain from naming other platforms specifically. But in the early days of like Tumblr and like Blogspot and shit like that, right? There's a certain hip hop blogger that talks a certain way, types a certain way, acts a certain way, bit all of that shit from Mero. All of it. Fucking all of it. And like, and motherfuckers knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? And like, and again, I'm not saying anybody in particular, but those people exist. So Mero was the blueprint for a lot of motherfuckers. Even the typing in all caps shit, like, I saw that shit maybe once before I seen it on Mero and his platforms.
Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean? So he was the progenitor for a lot of like internet speak, to be honest, like in that like, you know, late 00s, early 2010s shit. Desus was the computer guy. Like he knew all the tech, all the sound, all the editing and all that shit. So like, honestly, like that back and forth, like if you notice their comedic timing is very different, right? Like Mero's comedic timing is very like sort of chaotic in the moment. Like if it works, it works. Fuck it. But like Desus' comedic timing is very like stand-up-y. Like he has a sort of stand-up cadence. You know what I'm saying? Like his jokes, his delivery, his punch, like that shit, like it's very much like on, it's like, it's almost like a stage, like he has a stage presence to his jokes. Whereas like Mero is equally funny, just in a different way, where it's more like block humor.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so nah, they weren't day ones like that. But
I feel that. Founder of Hearse Boys.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed.
Sporting Hearse Boys right now.
Yes, indeed. I'm fucking drenched in it.
Yeah. So existing since 2017, Bronx, New York. And so tell us about Hearse Boys.
Hearse Boys is a community-based, like, well, community-driven sort of just like video game content creation / production. It's not a company because we're not fucking LLC'd or anything, but like we're like, you know, I had the idea for Hearse Boys because we were just a group of friends that like got together and played video games a ton. And like some of us were really fucking good, myself not included. Like I had way too much going on at the time to be nice at video games. Like, and that's no shade to my brothers, obviously, but like, you know what I'm saying? When I started Hearse Boys, I was just about to become a father. Like there was a lot going on, right? So I couldn't put the lab hours in the way my boys could. Yeah. But like the guys, like between us all, like we're mad nice. Like at Tekken, Street Fighter, Super Smash Brothers, like, you know what I'm saying? All that shit. And I got the idea of like, yo, we all from the Bronx. We all link all the time. Like, why not just make a group of this shit? Like, why not just make the shit into something, right? Like a lot of like, especially in the competitive scene, like there's not a whole lot of representation for people in the Bronx, black and brown people, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't see us really, especially top 8 settings, like, you know what I mean? Like high level competitive play, you don't really see motherfuckers like us, you know? Yeah. And like, you know, it's mostly like Asian, Scandinavian, white, like, you know what I mean? Like that the professional level is dominated by that sort of demographic. And we were like, okay, how about we just make this shit a thing. We just make it a group and just make it really fucking cool. So that people could get behind it. And
got you.
Yeah, so Hearse Boys is we put the Bronx first, always. Like that's, you know what I mean? We had a little space too that we were throwing events from here and there, but then COVID fucked us, just like COVID fucked everyone else. Yeah. And like we lost that space, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the message and the goal is still very clear. It's just like create space for people who were not otherwise seen in these tournament spaces, in these online spaces, these streaming spaces, specifically from the Bronx, because there's plenty of black streamers. There's plenty of, you know what I'm saying? There's plenty of Latina streamers. Like they're out there. We're not the only ones doing this shit. But the Bronx specifically does not have that kind of like light or support right now.
Yeah. I know for me, I'm all about community. So anything that brings people together is positive. People are embracing each other and showing love. I'm all for it. So are you a tattooer?
I always was, always will be. Yeah, regardless of practice. It's like it really, like, I know it's like a dead like this analogy is overused as fuck, but like it really is like riding a bike, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like once you're a tattooer and you got a fucking decade in, like I do, like that shit don't go away. I'm always gonna be a tattooer. So yeah, I'm just not in practice right now because I shifted to like entertainment and shit. So yeah.
So were you once upon a time doing tattoos full time?
Yeah. For the majority of 10 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was like, I graduated high school at 17. I got into Fordham on HEOP, which was equal opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. So right. So I got into Fordham off of that at 17 years old. But the caveat was you have to start now. The summer immediately after you graduate high school, which is usually when everybody's like, yo, I fucking did this shit. I made it, whatever. Right? The caveat was like, hey, for you to qualify, you have to start now. You know what I mean?
It's like probably mid-July-ish.
No, not even.
Not even?
No, the fucking end of August,
I know
bro.
my man went away for 3 weeks and came back and he had to go back. But
yeah,
that was Albany, when he went to Albany.
Oh, I see.
He went to St. Road.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man, Nico.
Yeah. But it was like that, right? Where it was like you get like 2.5 weeks of summer, and then you go immediately into the program. And I think that's what turned me off to it, because like I didn't get a break.
So you didn't go to Fordham?
I did for a semester and a half. And like after that, so me being 17, right? I was still on my parents' taxes. And like my mom made like an absurdly low amount more. And I think there was like a stipulation in there or something, like my grades had to be a certain, like they couldn't fall below a certain thing. But I was just so fucking exhausted because I decided on taking 5 fucking classes like a dickhead.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I'll be done with this shit faster if I take 5 classes. And also in high school, I was doing, I started my day at 7:45. 5 classes a week gonna be cake, you know? Wrong. Dead fucking wrong. So like I got super tired. I was super stressed. Fucking I had my first, I don't smoke no more, but I had my first cigarette at Fordham. It was a fucking Marlboro Red. Yeah, if that gives you if that gives you any indication as to like the kind of fucking, you know what I'm saying, the kind of stress I was under at Fordham.
Were you on campus or off campus? Like,
I was off, and that's another thing. I didn't get that fucking college experience, bro. I still live with mom dudes, bro.
You were down the
I was down the block, bro. Fordham and Webster, literally.
Fordham and Webb, yeah.
Literally, I was down the block. So like I didn't get that fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't get that like college
going out, make your own rules.
You know what I mean? Like play at being an adult. Also, I was 17, right? So like, you know, so I did go, I had a very short stint at Fordham. And and then I dropped out like a semester and a half in.
Did you go anywhere else?
No. My mom was in full support of it.
Right.
Like she was like fucking God bless my mom. Like I love her to death. Like she's held me down my entire fucking life and still does. Like with the kids and everything. But she was like, you don't want to go anymore? Okay. That's fine. But you need to do something. Find something. And like that's how I found tattooing. Cause I was stressed the fuck out. I needed a release. And like I've been around drugs long enough to know not to do them. Right? Like I seen what the fuck they do to people. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be that.
Right.
Not to shame those people. Addiction is a slippery slope.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
listen, we have visual learners.
Yeah.
And we have people who learn through experience. So same thing. I'm from 15 Brook, gangs, drugs everywhere. So it's like,
is this
really,
for me?
Not really my speed. You know
what I'm saying?
I seen it. I got gang member, older brothers. It wasn't really for me. And I think that's a hard choice to make at a young age, especially when there's so much peer pressure and you see so much going on around you.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that I was like, yo, that's not really my style.
Yeah.
It didn't fit me. So I commend you on doing what was right for yourself.
Thank you, Zoe. See, this is what the fuck I'm talking about, bro. Fucking Zoe. Like, Zoe, the positivity just ooze. Like, this is amazing, man. This is fucking cool. I'm hype as fuck to be here. Listen, I hate motherfuckers that act too cool for shit, bro. Like, I'm hype as fuck. I love this fucking show, dude.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This is fucking cool, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Y'all don't know this, but we've been trying to make this shit happen. Zoe specifically been trying to make this shit happen for dumb long, and the opportunity had just happened to happen now, and you know what I'm saying? Like you said in the elevator, God's timing,
it's
bro.
all God's timing, bro.
Yeah.
I don't when he say go is go. When he say stay still, stay still.
Yeah.
So I know things are gonna, like Umpi, my guest last night, you know, that was supposed to happen a long time ago.
Yeah.
This was what I was gonna tell you. I was also writing checks I couldn't cash at the time. So
I'm doing that now.
But like I think I'm more prepared in the way I do my homework and in the format and just my overall formula heading into things than I was at that time. At that time, I just saw opportunity, but I didn't know how I was going to cash in an opportunity.
Right.
But I think now it's like, I could definitely give Rainey a great one. I can give anybody who's coming on here, you're going to get a good one.
That's facts. And that's fantastic.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, that's such a great outlook to have.
Absolutely. So you're a dad?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but before we get into that, sorry, just to finish the whole tattooing Fordham saga, whatever, I dropped out. I was stressed the fuck out more than I was before. My mom didn't know I was smoking. She also didn't know I was doing other things. You know, like moving things I shouldn't have moved. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Taking advantage of, I'm going to paint it to you like this. In an environment where it's all freshmen and you're also a freshman and people are looking for a specific thing, you being from it, literally 2 blocks away,
Right.
makes you the perfect candidate to provide that thing.
Fucking plug.
So-
Easily, bro. I get the drift, bro. You had Fordham, all the little, gringuitos,
And it was not very long lived. Like,
Yeah.
it was not a very long lived sort of situation. But like, I was stressed the fuck out, bro, because I was going to school full time and I had no fucking bread, so whatever, bro. Like, so I drop out and I don't know what to do. And there's a shop on Fordham and Webster. Shout out Red Dragon. Red Dragon Tattoos, the first shop that ever gave me a shot. I love my coworkers there the entire time, pretty much, that I was there. Like, I fucking love everybody that was there. But ownership could be better, though. But I started getting tattooed, like, as a form of, like, release. Because I was like, oh, man, if I focus on this pain right here, I don't have to worry about all the other shit that's going on in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
It was, like, a very, like, primal sort of, like, this sucks right now, so I don't have to think about all the other shit that sucks. And then that's when I fell in love with it, with tattooing. I was like, yo, I'm so fucking happy right now. Like, this art on me looks so fucking cool. I want to do that for other people. And the first thing my artist, who then became like my somewhat mentor, the first thing he said to me when I said, yo, I want to do tattoos, he was like, no, you don't. Just to test me, to see if I was really about it. Because if I would have been like, oh, well, all right, I guess I don't, then it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. But I fucking came right here to Canal Street. I bought a fucking rinky-dink ass machine from Unimax. Shout out to Unimax as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I bought all my equipment. I started tattooing fruits with a similar texture to human skin, like bananas, oranges, anything with porous surfaces. Like, obviously you can't tattoo a fucking pineapple, right?
Yeah.
But like but like oranges, bananas, right? Like anything with a porous surface. On my windowsill, bro, for 6 months straight, just working on my craft. Just, you know what I'm saying? Working the needle. If the banana bruised, I was going too hard. If it didn't show up enough, I was going too soft. So 6 months of that, then I started tattooing actual people. And then, you know what I'm saying? And then that.
What was your first tattoo ever?
The first tattoo I ever did was on
It was a Tweety bird or something.
No.
You was in the Bronx.
No, actually, but you know what's crazy? Like, the first tattoo I ever did was fixing my neighbor's cousin's chest piece that he got in DR and then killed the guy over.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So he was like, yo, I got him bodied because he fucked up my tattoo. So I got him out of here. Can you fix it? And I was like, yeah, sure. First tattoo I ever did.
First tattoo you ever did?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's a little weird. But yeah. That's what happened.
Welcome to the tattoo industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's an intense one.
It is.
It is.
It is.
We're gonna segue from that.
Yeah.
We don't want to indict nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But him. What does the CIS mean?
Cis. Cisgendered. As in, like, I identify with the gender I was assigned at birth.
As him.
Mm-hmm. As a man, yeah.
Got you. Pro-black.
Yep.
Pro LGBTQIA plus.
Yep. Want me to break it down?
Yes, please.
The letters?
Yes.
LGBT, right? So lesbian, gay, T, trans, LG, yeah, lesbian, gay, B, bi, T, trans, Q, queer, I, intersex, A, asexual, and then the plus is whatever else.
What's asexual mean?
Asexual is there's this misconception that like asexuals like either don't like sex or don't have sex, and it's like that's not necessarily the case. It's just like that's not, they don't desire that. Like that's just not, it's not part of their everyday sort of like makeup. You know what I mean? Like asexual, ace folks, like they're some of the coolest people you will ever meet. You know what I'm saying? Because sex is so far removed from what makes them who they are.
Yeah, it doesn't like drive them.
Yeah. But there is a misconception that like, oh, you just don't have sex and don't like people. And like, no, I'm like, not me personally, but like speaking for some ace folks I've met, it's like, no, I'm asexual. I'm not a fucking sociopath. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm capable of love and, you know what I mean? All this stuff. It's just that sex in particular, like whatever, you know? Also, and the meaning does, like, I don't want to speak for an entire community that I don't, you know what I'm saying? That I don't necessarily, that's not part of who I am, right? Because like, I don't want to speak for anyone, especially on a platform with, you know what I'm saying? With this much reach. But like, as far as my experience with the ace people that I know, it's like, it's more so just like, sort of like I guess like there's not like a sexual or romantic element, but it can vary.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like still capable of caring about people, still capable of romantic relationships, still capable of having sex, sometimes want to have sex, but like, that's just not, you know what I'm saying? It's not all, like ace people can have an entire relationship. Like if two ace people are dating, then it's very possible that they will not have sex at all because like they're just not interested. But the romantic element is there. The intimate element is there, you know? So it's that kind of thing.
All right.
Yeah.
What's your earliest childhood memory? Or what are some of them?
I asked this is no fucking joke. Bro, I swear to God, like I'm not making this shit up. My earliest memory is a blinding light. And then oh yeah, I got you. My earliest memory is a blinding light, right? And then giant hands, like moving in slow motion around me. And I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, what the fuck is this about? And she's like, well, you were born jaundice, so they put you in the incubator with UV light to like get your skin back, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I was fucked up, bro. Like I was, you know what I'm saying? Like jaundice is no joke. So they put me in they essentially rotisserie my shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They fried my shit, right? So like, just to get me right, you know? And she was like, are you for real? Like, do you actually? And I was like, yeah, that's like, that I replay it in my head, like periodically. And she's like, there's no way you remember. And I'm like, remember what? I'm not, because when I was explaining it to her, it wasn't a memory. It was just like, yo, Ma, I feel like I think about like being a baby and like just giant hands and this bright ass light. And she's like, well, you were in an incubator and like for jaundice and all that shit. So I guess that's my earliest memory, you know, because it makes sense with what my mom said. But yeah, I think after that is probably, what's the Jay-Z album where he's in front of the car on the cover?
Jay-Z album in front of the car.
He's like leaned up against the car. What?
Is he wearing a black suit? No.
It might be. It might be. It's Blueprint 1, right? It's Blueprint 1?
Think so.
Or it might have been a demo tape too. It might have been no? Hard Knock, right? Yeah. Yes. Hard Knock Volume 2, yes. My earliest childhood memory is so at 11:53, old heads will know this, but I was a fucking baby, right? But at 11:53 Grand Concourse, there was a business, you know, businesses are usually attached to like the bottom floor of an apartment building. In the early 90s, that was a record store before it became a bodega. And I was a child, and my mom would bring me in there occasionally to just pick out whatever I wanted because she was cool with the owner, and like and cassettes were on their way out, right? So she would let me pick whatever, and he would just give me cassettes, right? So Hard Knocks, right? It was just standing there, and I thought that shit looked so cool. Like I could barely read, but I saw the letter Z. I thought that shit was cool. The guy standing posted up against the car. I'm like, who the fuck is this cool ass guy? I want this. My mom was like, all right, cool, fuck it, whatever. I don't know what this is. Get it for him. And like, I had a stereo upstairs, like a hand-me-down from my uncle's. And I had a stereo upstairs. And this is real shit. There's a light. You remember the green interface on a lot of old audio equipment?
Right.
Like the green interface with the lights behind it.
Yeah.
That would show the analog numbers. I had that. Bro, I swear to God, I could see shadows of roaches crawling in it. That was fucking gross and bizarre. But like, I'll never forget like the tiny little shadows of things just crawling around inside my stereo. And my earliest memory is popping open the cassette thing.
Right.
After getting Jay-Z's fucking Hard Knocks Volume 2, popping that shit in and just letting it rock. And I felt so powerful because I was like, damn, my 4-year-old brain, I'm just like, yo, I fucking made music just now.
Yeah.
Like I just made music happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you press the button.
You press the button
together.
and sounds come out. What the fuck? So like that was super cool for me. I loved that stereo. I had a million cassettes. Like I don't remember all of them. All I remember is you know fucking Elvis Crespo?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's Suavemente.
Yeah. Suavemente and fucking Pintame.
Yeah.
That shit. He was in a group called G.O.D. And I had that cassette too.
Okay.
I had Jay-Z. I had Mana, bro. I had a lot of shit, bro, as a kid. But that stereo was probably one of my,
Were you an only child?
Yes and no. I know everything, listen, anybody watching, listening, you're not going to get a simple answer out of me. It's not going to happen, okay? Everything is super long and convoluted, but yes and no. But I guess this is probably the shortest answer I'm going to give you. But yes, because up until I was like 5 or 6, it was just me and my mom. And then beyond that, I met my stepdad. And then my older sister moved with us from living with her pops in DR, with our pops in DR. She came to live with us when she was 9. So for like, from being born to like 6 or 7, 5, 6, 7.
So that wasn't your step pop's kid. That was your pops.
Yep. Yeah.
So your sister from your father. Gotcha.
Yeah. The only sibling I share 2 parents with.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Like we have the same mom and dad. She lived with our pops. I lived with our mom. Pops was like, yo, she's like 9 now. I don't know how to talk to her. So here you go. And that's when I found out, or remembered at least, that I had a sister. And she came to live with us.
Right. So your mom, so pretty much you still with your mother and your sister went with your father.
Yeah. And remember, she's older than me. So when she was born in DR when they both lived in DR. I was born here when my mom moved here.
Gotcha.
Because my grandfather, my mom's dad, was like, we're going to America. We're going to New York. Fuck this. Like, this place fucking sucks and there's no opportunities for me here. I cannot feed all 8 of you.
Right.
Like, off what I'm doing here. So we're going. So yeah, that's how it happened.
Yeah. Describe Rainey in high school. I know we went to Fordham for a little bit, but describe yourself in high school. What high school did you go to?
I went to Taft.
We went to Taft.
Yeah.
Taft.
Yeah, I went to Taft. But I went to Taft when it was like no longer Taft.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it was by then it
those,
was split up.
Yeah.
Every
schools.
Every floor was like a different school. Like there was like the all boys school. There was like this weird like fake medical school. Like their uniform was like scrubs and shit with like logos on it. It was kind of hard. I'm not gonna hold you. It was kind of fire, but then there was like Bells or whatever. But I went to like probably the softest sounding school on earth, fucking Dream Yard. Yeah, and but shout out to my Dream Yard family.
Taft is on what? Morris?
Taft is on 175 in Sheridan.
Sheridan.
I'm pretty sure it's on 175 in Sheridan. That's
all right, so I'm mistaken the schools, but yeah, I know where that's at.
Yeah. Taft is like literally the D train on the concourse, go 1 block past the D train. Sheridan is right there. That whole complex is the school. It's got the football field, parking lot, all that.
Gotcha.
Right. So yeah, Rainey in high school. So like my birthday's super late. It's December 26th, right? So like I started my academic life earlier than I was supposed to because my mom was like, well, no, because if he doesn't start now, he'll graduate at 19 as opposed to 17. Like she was very sharp about the shit. So they were like, all right, I mean, I guess that's reasonable. And so that's how that happened. And then, fast forward to high school, I started high school at 13. And like at first I was like, damn, like I'm a little bit awkward, like a little weird, but like I guess I found community in like a handful of other weirdos that like didn't ascribe to this sort of like social hierarchy that exists in high school where it's like you're either this or this, right? I had the benefit of my actual school, like Taft Educational Campus has been around forever, right. But like my actual school was like barely a year old to the point where like the first class of Dream Yard at all was like when I started at Dream Yard, there were no seniors yet. Like that's how young the school was. It was just me and the 2 classes above me. So it was just me, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just freshman, junior, senior. I mean, freshman, sophomore, junior.
Yeah.
There were no seniors yet. That's how young the school was. So I guess I benefited. I was allowed to be my weirdo fucking self because I didn't go to this giant school with like established hierarchies and like this weird fucking social capital that a lot of high schools have. Like everybody was young and weird and confused. And like our entire school was 1 floor of a building. So we had no choice but to fucking be in community. Obviously there were still fights and still friends groups, but like, I don't know, Dream Yard never felt cliquey. Like it felt like everybody fucked with each other. So I was allowed to be my genuine self. And like I had green hair. I wore the tight pants. I listened to fucking Screamo, all that shit. Like I read comics and manga. Like I put a lot of people onto a lot of shit in high school, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
but
you know what I mean?
Did you find yourself being not the typical Dominican because you were into different things, or do you feel like you were embraced by other Dominicans?
Both.
I
was in like,
Did you play baseball?
No.
Okay.
No.
See, so that's kind of like
that's teetering the other way.
You know, definitely go left. You know what I'm saying?
Did you play baseball? No.
Yeah.
So you fucking lied.
Yeah.
But no, I see what you're saying though, and like for me, it's like it's a little bit of both because like all the Dominican, like it was mostly Dominicans, right? Like it's a public school in the Bronx. Like it's mostly Dominicans. On 175 in Sheridan, yeah. Mostly Dominicans, right? So that was most of my class, my graduating class. And they all fucked with me. And like I was also surrounded by other Dominicans who were not surrounded, but like 1 or 2 of them were also into the same shit as me, you know? Like the fucking Screamo music, the manga, the anime, the comics, the film music, different kind of music, you know? So it was a bit of both. Like, yeah, I still had people that like tried to pick on me or whatever, but that shit would backfire because like I'm not a fucking bitch, you know what I'm saying? But like also like I had the people that like were genuinely curious, like especially the Dominicans. They were super curious. Like they were like, yo, what is this shit? It sounds different, but it's like cool. Like I fuck with it, you know? And like the way I dressed too was never a problem because Dominicans always been on the tight jeans shit. You know what I'm saying? Like even before it was like cool. Before Amiri started doing this shit. Like
y'all came out the womb. You know what I'm saying? Like
Dominicans came through with the rainbow jeggings, bro.
With the diesel shoes on.
You know what I'm saying? Like we was outside, bro. So like, yeah, it was never a problem.
Yeah.
I never picked on, never like outcast. There really wasn't any of that. So, yeah.
So I know a lot of what you love and what you embark on is music. So what does music mean to you?
Fucking everything. Fucking everything. It fucking shapes people. I don't trust people that say they don't listen to music. What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean? Like, what do you mean you don't and like I've spoken to some people that feel that way. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, well, you know, if I hear a song out in the wild, I'm not gonna fucking, oh, this sucks, and like cover my ears or whatever. But I don't actively listen to, like I don't seek out an album to listen to. I don't like go to shows. I don't go to parties. Like that's not my thing. And I'm like, okay. And then like I write it in my notes app of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like people who sketch me the fuck out. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, but like, you know, that sounds way judgier than I actually mean it to. But like, I don't know, like music is so important to me that it's fucking weird when people don't listen to that shit. But I guess all in all, music is fucking everything, man. Cause I've been so entrenched and so like, just like so used to loving all of it.
Yes.
Like that there's no limits of really what it means. And like and in Dominican culture, music is a huge fucking proponent of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Music is a huge part of our identity. You know what I mean? Like bachata started as a fucking social response to like, you know what I'm saying? To like the economy and like dictatorship and like loneliness, like general loneliness in the Dominican fucking like collective conscience that like motherfuckers was feeling so sad and alone that they were like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm broke as fuck. This is a dictatorship and all I have is this guitar. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the shit. Like, everybody love them some fucking Romeo Santos and Raulín Rodriguez now.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, bro, if you was a bachatero, you was a loser. You was a fucking bozo. Like, what, are you just gonna sit around playing your guitar? You fucking, like, get the fuck out, get a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think music is fucking everything, bro.
Love
everything.
that.
Yeah, thank you, man.
So you rap and you sing.
And produce and mix. I can't master yet. I can't master my own audio yet. But I'm getting there. But yeah, I rap, sing, produce, mix, engineer a little bit, you know. Yeah.
Do you prefer one or the other, or it's like singing more of a mood for you, or like which one comes more natural to you?
Rapping. 100%. Singing, I have to, because like I'm not tethered to one genre, right? Like I've been making dark wave music, and that's like a subset of like goth, you know, new wave, post punk, like that kind of shit. It depends on the mood, depends on the tone. You know, like I'm not gonna get on a Griselda type beat and fucking start crooning like Frank Ocean, right? Like that's not realistic. Like that's not gonna happen. Yeah. You know, but at the same time, I'm not about to hit my West Side Gun on, you know what I'm saying, on an R&B special. Like, you know, so it all depends. But I think I'm definitely better at rapping than I am singing. Yeah. Yeah.
I like the Split Part 2 on Resurgence. Yeah. Who were the UK guys, or are they from the UK? Like they had like that UK
that's
flow.
Me.
Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
The whole song?
Everyone on that track is me.
Nah, that's super cool, bro. Yo, I listened to that song like 3 times today. I'm like, you know, and Jenny the bottom, you know what I'm saying? I thought I was listening to the Top Boy for a second.
Yeah,
like,
man. No,
that's. Oh wow.
Thank you. Well, that's the idea, right? Like, you know, you remember the movie Split? Yeah. He had like 26 personalities or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, I should do that in a fucking song. Right. And I did it.
Nah, you did, but you did it to like to the T, bro. I thought.
Thank you.
I'm like, yo, who he know from the UK? Like, that's got on the record. I'm like, yo, that's super fly.
Thank you, man. Thank you. No, that means a lot that you would feel that way.
Yo, I mean, we're gonna listen to it after. I really thought it was different people, different. Tell me about mine. I'm like, yo, son, like, dude really pulled up. Yeah. We got Drill Bob Tech Pants.
Oh man, that's like
Drill Bob. That's mad creative. Yeah, Drill Bob Tech Pants.
Drill Bob Tech Pants. Yes.
And we can't play it, but yeah, that shit's hard. You
know Thank you. It's just a minute.
That's recent.
Yeah, it's just us. It's just 1 minute of fun. That's all. I'm like, yo, I was thanks. I was talking to my producer Blanco. Shout out Blanco. And I was like, yo, can you flip the chase music from SpongeBob? You know, the fucking boom, 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 right? That shit. I was like, can you make this a drill beat? And he was like, I got you. And I was like, it don't need to be longer than a minute because it's going on TikTok, and TikTok's audience, they have the retention of a goldfish, right? So like, so he made the beat, and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is crazy. So then I made the song, and I was just like, yo, you know what? Like, how can I have fun with this, but like not just do garbage throwaway bars? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I deliver bars to the point where it's like, it's not so self-serious that it's corny, but it's not so throwaway that it's like unbearable to listen to. And like,
I like it. It sound fly. It sound jiggy. I fuck with it.
Thank you.
I also like slow as well.
Oh, slow, yeah.
So we're gonna get a couple quotes from Twitter, right?
I love this segment. I love this segment.
This is great.
You forgot I'm a fan of the show, bro.
Oh yeah,
like,
I got
you. Know what I'm saying?
Welcome,
I'm not afraid to give motherfuckers their flowers, bro. Like
man.
this
that
shit, like,
a lot to me.
Hey, stop acting too fucking cool to tell motherfuckers when they doing a good fucking job. Because you'd be surprised, a lot of motherfuckers don't hear that shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like this is a thankless job. You know what, Zoe? I'm gonna get on my soapbox right quick. This is a thankless job. Nobody asked Zoe to do this. Zoe's doing this shit because he loves the fucking culture and he loves the people. He wants to give everybody a fucking platform to talk their shit. And that is so fucking fire. And I love that. So yes, my favorite fucking segment. Let's get it.
So thank you. I really appreciate you for that.
Of course, man.
If I were president, my one law would simply be leave people alone. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's a simple enough law, and it's ambiguous enough that like, oh, excuse me. I think it's like, it's it's vague enough that if like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what seems to be the problem here? He just wouldn't leave me alone. That's it.
Right.
That's what it boils down to. 90% of 98% of conflict boils down to motherfucker wouldn't leave me alone, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like a lot of the time, they probably told you a few times. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like a lot of people, they don't get that shit. So like I feel like my one law would be, yo, just leave motherfuckers alone. And like that's also like including like, yo, trans people, that shit don't bother you, bro. That shit has nothing to do with you and your personal life. You know what I'm saying? Like, trans bodies, trans identity does not affect my cis life at all. You know what I mean? So like all these harmful laws, all this harmful rhetoric, all this bullshit, bro, like get that shit out of here, bro. Leave people the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? But also like make space for people to be who they are and who they want to be. You know, like gender affirming care, like, oh, it's our children, blah, 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 bro. Trans people have existed since before television, since before highly consumable media like what we have today. Ancient fucking cultures have intersex people. You know what I'm saying? Like specifically indigenous native people have had intersex people forever. Highly regarded, you know what I'm saying? High social status. Like it's the history's there, bro. Like let's cut the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like if you want to take it there, we get like, you know what I mean? Like trans people have been around forever.
Yes.
Non-binary people have been around forever. Like, if the shit don't fucking affect you, leave motherfuckers alone, bro.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it.
This one's a two-part.
Okay.
If I could trade all the great fathers I'm surrounded by for a do-over where my real father was actually in my life, I'd happily decline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I don't need my step-pops, I mean, that's in the following tweet, but like my step-pops held it down. I met him when I was 6 and he spent the next 20 years proving himself. I don't need the other guy. It's that simple. And in Dominican culture, that's a big fucking no-no. Oh, tú tienes que buscar tu papá. Ese tu papá.
Yeah, they put
tú tienes que respetar tu papá. Like, that's a big fucking thing. Él el que manda. No, ese es tu padre. Eso no cambia nada. Bro.
Tú sabes que él te quiere.
Yo.
Come on.
Yo.
If he loved me, why he loved? Come on, bro.
No, tú sabes que él te quiere. Yo, get the fuck. Okay. So, wow. That was.
I grew up with Dominicans, bro. Come on.
That was verbatim. Verbatim.
Son, to the T, bro.
Tú sabes que él te quiere como quiera. Bro, how then? The motherfucker ain't show up.
Right.
You know who showed up? The other guy. You feel me?
You gotta respect game.
Yeah, you know and I could have been I was like, yo, who's this stranger that lives with us now? That's fucking weird. I was 6 years old. He had he navigated that shit so well. Like, I'm sure it was confusing for him too. Shout out Wheelie. You feel me? Love you. Me bye, bro. You know? Like, that's my dad, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, I have a father, sure. But Wheelie, fucking, yo, I'm about to tell y'all my step-pop's whole government, but I can't not do it because it's fucking hilarious. I knew him as Wheelie, which is Willie, right? Willie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Wheelie, right? I knew him as Wheelie for years. It wasn't until I was like 12 years old that I found out his real name is Enemencio.
Oh.
Yo.
Yo, Dominicans kill it with the name.
Yo.
Enemencio.
Enemencio, bro. You know, and like in my brain, I'm like, that's not a word that exists in English, right? No. But the closest I could find was eminence.
Eminence, okay.
Bro, what the fuck kind of, what kind of Dark Souls boss? What kind of shit is that, bro? Like, you know? And I'm like, your name is what?
I know a dude's named Wasker.
Yeah, Wascott. Oh my God.
It's like W-A, whatever.
Bro, I got a sister from my father's side, not my step-pops. I got a sister from my father's side named Agualki.
Agualki, yeah. Or Belki, or yeah.
Yeah, Agualki.
Something, yeah.
What the fuck? What is over there? What is in the Yaroa over there?
Yeah. It's no different from African Americans, you know, Shaniqua, you know.
Yeah.
It's the Dominican version of it.
Nah, honestly, yeah. Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yeah. I met a girl named Walelki one time. Like,
oh my
God. What's Walelki?
And I bet you she was fire.
She was fire.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
Listen, all Dominican girls with the weirdest names on earth,
Yeah.
heat. All of them heat.
Yeah, that's facts. I could have changed to that. I could attest to that. That's facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, to finish the tweet, Steph Spot spent 20 years filling the void, and I learned well enough how to be a father from all the good dads I know. I think the third one is from the song Slow. Trying to fight depression, but I still don't love myself.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be like that.
When'd you go through depression?
Right now, still, all the time. It's worse now. So it's funny, like, earlier, I tried to make a joke, didn't exactly land, and it got flipped on me.
Right.
And I got
brother,
asked,
art.
and I got
Power
asked,
to the art.
and I got asked, are you insecure about something? The honest answer would have been, yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, I'm just like, oh man, it's not even, it's whatever. But to answer your question, yeah, I'm insecure about a whole lot.
Yeah.
And one of those things is that depression, because like in this sort of capitalist fucking, like capitalism is inherently anti-community, right? So when you feel like it's an uphill fucking battle between you and literally everybody, and it's just you and it's fucking dog eat dog everywhere else, you feel fucking alone, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, like, trigger warning, suicide rates for men have always been fucking astronomical, especially here. Because, like, this culture of, like, you got to get it on your own. You got to get it 10 toes. Don't ask nobody for shit. Motherfuckers suffer in silence to the point where they can't no more. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's that sort of thing with me personally, where it's like, yo, like, I said it in this TikTok I made or whatever. It's like, went viral. Like, I did like a joke, a play on like the whole day in the life thing, where like I was like, okay, what if I take this formula where like people try to dress their life up to be like the most amazing fucking thing in the world? What if I flipped that on its head and I just showed all the ugly shit? Or at least talked about the ugly shit while still kind of keeping it engaging and like a little lighthearted. Like, what if I was like funny about it? And in that TikTok, I'm like, yo, like, I sit and I think about how capitalism is inherently anti-community, and like I have a co-op under my name with no cosigner. I have two beautiful children with their own room, their own space, and I have a car that's paid off with no note. But all it takes for me to feel like a total piece of shit in this system that does not work is me simply not having a job. My self-worth is boiled down to mean whether I'm fucking making money or not. And like, when you say that shit out loud, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are more than their dollar fucking value. Like, there's more to humanity than that. But we live in this fucking system that like doesn't value art, doesn't value freedom of expression, certainly fucking not. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in this place of like, in this dead zone of just like, no, work, produce, don't fucking think about shit else. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah. So yeah, that's where that quote comes from.
I felt that, I mean, there's a lot of 50 Cent said, shout out to 50. You definitely gonna be on
Shout out to
Conversation Show someday. He said depression is a luxury. And I felt that because I had a lot of things happen in my childhood. I seen death a couple times. Being jumped, knife to my neck. I was 8 years old when I got a knife to my neck. Like, what does an 8-year-old kid do? Like, I honestly, I was like, cool, fuck it. This is it.
And how do you process that later on?
How do you process that, right?
Yeah.
So then I started to get to a point where I started to notice my greatness in school and baseball and things like that. So I started to just like, put things in a little trunk in the back of my head. And all right, cool, that happened, put it in the trunk. Because for me, it was just like, I got to keep it moving. Like, I don't got no time to process none of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's regular. All my homies been through it. All my homies done experienced the same thing because we become trauma buddies.
Yeah.
Trauma buddies is a thing where we latch on to people who have no father or no mother or whatever their situation is. If it's similar or exactly the same, boom, we have something in common now, our traumas.
Yeah.
So it wasn't till the end of 2020, I went on a great run with Conversation with Zoe. A lot of content, going crazy. Then my man's passed away. Shout out to Spencer. Shout out, long live Speed Rose, one of my dear friends from high school, my high school teammate. We won a championship together. He passed away, and
I'm sorry, man.
that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And I was at a point in my life where I could afford to take a break.
Right.
28 years old, I took a break. I took a leave of absence from work, and I was in therapy. I was in therapy prior, but it was just like consistent sessions. I was doing Uber Eats and Instacart, working my own schedule, not tied to anything. I get up and do what I gotta do. I figured out how to make $1,000 a week on that shit.
Yeah.
And I just kept it moving, but I just needed a break, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just no answering to nobody, do what I gotta do, kind of just take care of my mental health, because for 28 years, I've had friends. It's crazy. I was talking to my girl the other day. I was like, how many funerals have I been to since we moved to this house? And she's like, yeah, probably 8 or 9. I only been living there 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And I've been to that many. I'm going to a funeral next Friday.
Nah, man, and that shit'll really fuck you up. Like,
right.
That shit
and
really
it does,
fuck
but
up.
as men of color coming from where we come from, it's like, bro, you got to make something of yourself.
Yeah.
And I kind of told myself that at 13, like, bro, like, before you tackle this, be somebody or do something with yourself. And I finally got a point where I could take a break, bro. And now, I won't say I'm fully healed, but I've crossed a lot of those bridges, and I'm in a much better mental space, and I'm able to flourish more, I feel, because I don't have so many demons behind me, skeletons in that dark cloud that you can't really see, but it's there above your head.
Yeah. And that's super fucking commendable, bro, because I'm going to tell you this right now, bro. Like, I've seen it myself. A lot of motherfuckers do not come back from that, especially losing your fucking day one.
Yeah.
A lot of motherfuckers don't come back from that because, like you said, we become trauma buddies, and it's like, nah, if he can make it through this shit, I can.
Facts.
And then when he doesn't, you're like, oh, fuck, I was not prepared for this. You know what I'm saying? And like, I just want to, first of all, like, thank you for sharing that shit. That was super fucking vulnerable. Like, that's like that, that's not easy to talk about.
Yeah.
And I, and the whole men of color thing, right? Like, me personally, like, I'm being Dominican, like, it's a fucking melting pot, bro. Like, are you, so like, I don't know how to ask this any other way, but like, can you trace your roots beyond your parents?
Yeah.
You can? Okay, so where are your parents from?
I'm Garifuna, so I have African descent.
Word. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, you know that for a fact. Like, American descendants of slaves know where they come from for a fact. Their history is traumatic and fucked up and different, but history is history. Being Dominican, and like for a lot of the Caribbean, you know what I'm saying? When you think Jamaican, you have a picture of a person in your head. And like, like when you think like Dominican, more or less, most people are going to imagine the same kind of person,
right.
But there is no one Dominican. There's no one Puerto Rican. There's no one Cuban, like, image. You see what I'm saying? Like,
powerful.
And like, and I think like me personally, like, it's always like, I've always said, like, oh, what are you? When I get that question, I've always said like, oh, I'm Dominican. But then I was told like, oh, Dominican is actually not a race, right? That's why it doesn't show up on the census. That's why, like, all these other things, right? So what are you? So for a while, I was like, okay, well, I mean, shit. I mean, my hair grows a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I grew up doing certain shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of overlap between like black culture and Dominican culture. You know what I'm saying? Like the fucking, like the hair treatment. You know what I'm saying? Hair is a big one. You know what I'm saying? The drawer full of plastic bags. Like bro, like it's a lot. It's a lot of overlap, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the pretending that we're younger than we actually are to get free tickets to shit.
Right.
Go stand in line, see what they waiting for. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of shit, right? So I was like, oh, and they're like, oh, Dominican's not a race. Most Dominicans, in fact, like, I saw like most Dominicans are black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I guess I'm black then.
Not everybody's ready for that
And
conversation.
then, And then, so I would say that, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'm black then, right? And like, you bring up my music, and this is something I wanted to touch on because like, I'm not afraid to. A lot of people not ready for this conversation. I certainly am, because I say the N-word a lot in my old music because I felt like, well, if Dominican's not a race, you know what I'm saying? And race is a fucking social construct, right? And like, blackness is all of these things. I resonate with a lot of that stuff, right? Like a lot of that stuff has a lot of overlap with my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? My hair grows a certain way. The sun likes me. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't like, you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of and it's not always tied to hurt. Like that's the thing. Like people try to make blackness the fucking oppression Olympics. That's not what fucking blackness is. Like diluting it to that, you know what I mean? Like diminishing it to just, well, who struggled more? That is such a fucking disservice to like the richness of what fucking being black is, you know? And then I was like, well, I know I'm not fucking white. I know that for sure. You know what I mean? So like that became a whole thing. And like, and to the point where like, you know, I'll say it in I said it in my old music and I'm not ashamed of that shit at all. But like now I like avoid that shit. Like I avoid saying that shit. And the reason I do is because I don't feel like defending my fucking blackness on the internet to strangers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like having that conversation every other fucking day, every time a tweet come up with that word in it. You know what I mean? And like, I'm just like, cause a lot of the time the rebuttal is like, oh nah, you not really black. You just claiming that shit so you could say that. So you could get an N-word pass. So I'm like, okay, cool. I won't say it no more. Still black.
Right.
Now what? You see what I'm saying? Argument falls apart. So it's like, at first, people will be like, well, there's no benefit to pretending to be black. Why do y'all want to be black so much? We're the most persecuted people on the fucking planet. Dark-skinned folks in particular, right? Mm-hmm. The only reason people could come up with is the N-word pass, right? So it's like, yo, there's no reason for you to want to be black so bad, except for this. So I go, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm still recognizing my black roots, still recognizing my blackness. Then they flip it and they go, why do you want to be black so bad? You just want all the benefits of blackness, all the coolness of, and I'm like, bro, you just told me that there are no benefits. You just told me.
Right.
And these are true statements. Like you just told me you're the most persecuted people on earth. Like, yeah, these are facts. So which is it? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I or am I not?
Yeah.
You know? And I think like the reason I brought that shit up was because like when 50 said like, he can't afford to be depressed. I think like that is the corner in which Black American men are like, that's the corner that Black American men are pushed into.
Right.
You cannot afford to acknowledge your mental health because you got to get it.
Right.
You got to hustle. You got to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And part of that is in me, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know this shit otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, like part of that is alive in me. So like, while I feel where he's coming from, you know what I'm saying? As a obviously darker than me, you know what I'm saying? Like dark-skinned, actual American black man in America, right? Like his experience with depression is going to be different from mine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm way more ambiguous. You know what I'm saying? Like one of my favorite comments on a tweet I've ever tweeted was me fucking holding Godric, my firstborn son, like a, you know what I'm saying? Like a blick, right? Holding him like this and being like, you know, I keep that thing on me. And then one of my favorite comments under that tweet is, what race are you? You look like all of them.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I supposed to say to that shit, bro?
What do you say?
You know what I mean? So I get where Fifth is coming from.
Yeah.
Because his experience as a dark-skinned black man in America is going to be different from my experience as a Caribbean mixed race. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get that. But also that attacking it from that angle is very problematic because it assumes that depressed people are just sitting around doing nothing.
Right.
When it's like,
you could be high functioning. I was very high functioning.
I'm telling you, bro.
I was running. Listen, I released 7 episodes in 7 days.
Bro, like you honestly, bro, like us, like to be honest, like, okay, whatever. White people can afford to do that most of the time. They can afford to sit around and do, bro, I've never met a fucking black or Caribbean, whatever. I've never met a minority of like, you know what I'm saying? Like a person of color that was not more driven than they were when they were not down fucking horrible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, if anything, we do more when we're, cause we feel like, nah, I can't rock, bro.
I can't. You know?
I gotta go get it.
I have to.
You know what I mean? So it's like a whole
It's
thing.
funny, man. I had an argument with a white kid that I went to boarding school with.
Yeah.
During the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
And I said it, and I'll say it again. You could look it up. I said, speaking about the people that went to my school, I said, white people don't have to be exceptional.
They don't.
To go to boarding school.
Absolutely not.
Your dad just has to be on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that.
Is he white? Yes. Is he not exceptional? Yes. Is his dad on the board? Yes. So where did I lie? Where's the lie? Right?
Yeah.
So where did I have to be at 16 years old to make my way to have high character, to make a good, first impression to where people felt like, I want to invest in this kid.
Yeah.
Right? I want to get this kid out of his situation, and I want him to put him in a situation where he could get a higher education.
Right.
Like, you didn't have to be exceptional. And that's to him, and that's to most of the people coming from my experience.
Of course.
Not exceptional at all. From, everything is set up for you. I go to my high school reunion and they say, what are you doing? Nah, just traveling, chilling, got a little trust fund, you know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, got a little 20 million to my name.
Yeah.
All they had to do was graduate college and they ain't had rid of 20 million.
Listen, Keith, don't tell anyone this, but when you graduate, I got a spot for you at the firm. Now, you're going to have to prove yourself.
Yeah, you're not going to get a corner office,
You're not going to get a corner office right away, all right, Keith? But listen to me. You're going to have to prove yourself, all right? I got Tanner, I got Josiah, and I got Ezekiel. I got them all working your file, all right? So don't tell anyone this, okay? But you're going to have to get it on your own.
Right.
That's the lie their parents tell them. You're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to put the work in. It's like, no, I'm sorry, fucking butler, but that's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. If you open the fucking door for them, you did 90% of the work. They're already there. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I couldn't afford to fail like they did.
That's a big part of it.
Couldn't afford to fail. We didn't have the safety nets.
No, not at all.
Not
at all.
It's crazy. My boarding school cost $42,000 a year at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Today, currently, that's like 70 grand.
Yeah.
Right? So.
God damn.
My dad told me, he's like, yo, listen, behave yourself. I don't fully understand where you are, but this is a different world. This is an immigrant man from Honduras.
Yeah, of course. He's like, yo, I don't get this.
American-born son has been given an athletic scholarship or academic scholarship to play at this school, at this prestigious school in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he's not in the Bronx no more. He's now at this $42,000 school that he's going to for free.
Yeah.
And my dad grew up in a tin house, dirt floors.
Yeah.
And 8 siblings.
Yeah.
So our worlds were totally different.
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, I don't have no money. You get in trouble here, you're going back home.
Yo, the intersection there is wild because my mom grew up exactly 8 siblings and dirt floors.
Right.
That's fucking crazy.
Those were the times, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
The Jackson 5, it was Jackson 8.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? If you ain't had more than 7, you wasn't doing it right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you wasn't. You know what I mean? Yeah, nah. They'd have to. My mom tells me all the time, like, yo, I respect my father so much, and like, I see a lot of my father in you now. Like, you make these hard choices, and like, you stand on them, and like, that's why, like, my mom, she's like, well, that's why I respect you so much. Like, you showed up for these kids. Like, you got this fucking co-op. Like, you got a vasectomy at 28. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, 27. But like, you know what I mean? Like you make these choices and you fucking stand on them. And like, that's the measure of a man. And like, that's how she sees it. She's like, I don't give, like, if you like men or whatever, like, I don't give a fuck about none of that. It's your choices and like how you move. And like, the fact that you stand on your choices is why I respect you so much, and I'm proud to call you my son. We literally just had this conversation last week.
Wow, and I was on the verge of, dude.
Yeah, shout out to mommy, bro.
Are you co-parenting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One baby mama, 2 baby mamas?
One.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I made the conscious choice after my first kid. I was like, hey, do you want to try for a second one? If we can't, this is gonna sound really weird to a lot of people. Like, I feel like a lot of people just kind of wing it and they go, whatever happens, happens. But me personally, like, I like a plan. I like structure, and I like predictability. I don't like being caught off guard. It's the Capricorn in me, But I told my son's mother, after we had our first one, we were kind of just looking at him, and he was playing independently. He was less than a year old, but he was playing with his toys in his room, and his room seemed really big for his little body. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just looked real small in this room. And I kind of looked at her and I was like, yo, do you want to like try for a second one? And she was like, what? You're fucking crazy. Like, he's not even a year old. And I was like, yeah, I know. But by the time you have him, you have, our second kid, like he will be, right? And like, we'll have them close enough together that like you can still have a life after they're 18, 20, and far apart enough that like they're still, you know what I'm saying? Like they're still their own people.
Yes.
So the decision came very shortly after, like less than a year after Godric was born. One baby mom, because I was like, nah, I'm not finna have kids with nobody else. Like, so in my head, I was like, okay, they have to be under 2 years old, and they're 20 months apart. They have to be under 2 years old. And if that doesn't happen, if we can't get pregnant again before they're under 2 years old, I'm getting my vasectomy and I'm only having one kid, and that's that. And I'm standing on that decision. And then it ended up happening. We had a second son, and I was like, okay, cool. Making my vasectomy appointment now. Right. So you know what I'm saying? We had Godric and Griffin, two beautiful, healthy, fucking amazing boys, right? Fucking, I could not ask for better sons. Like, they're fucking incredible.
Right.
They're mad smart, mad funny. And then I made that choice. And I told my mom, I was like, hey, Ma, like, can you help me find a urologist that takes our insurance? So yeah, no problem. She found me Dr. John Graham in shout out to Dr. John Graham, Brooklyn Urology. You know what I'm saying? He fucking held it down, yo. Yeah. I fuck with John Graham because John Graham was like, listen, you can smoke cigarettes. Well, at the time, he was like, you can smoke cigarettes, sign up for the army, all this shit. Mm-hmm. He's like, you can smoke cigarettes, sign up for the army, all this shit at 18 years old. I don't see why you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could go off and die in a war at 18. If you came into my office at fucking 18, 19 years old and you wanted a vasectomy, that's completely your right. So shout out to John Graham, you know what I'm saying? Like, letting people make their own decisions. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So, that's how that happened. I was kind of just like, yo, like, okay, we have the first one. If we can't have another one within 2 years of Godric being born, then I'm getting a vasectomy. And it ended up that we did. So yeah.
Got you. Last two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Message to your younger self.
Do everything exactly as you did it. No regrets. Don't take anything back. Be your whole self and don't apologize for it. Do everything exactly as you've done it.
I'm here for that. And we always got to give some love to our youth. So, message to the youth.
Probably the same message that I would give myself is just like, be your authentic self. Don't fear persecution and stand up to bullies. Stand up to anybody that's gonna try and punk you. You know what I'm saying? Like, for being who you are.
Right.
And you might get a couple licks from, you know what I mean? From people that really stand on how they feel. But at the end of the day, whether they like you or not after that, they're going to respect you because you stood up for yourself. And that goes a long fucking way. So always stand up for yourself.
Right. So where can we find you, man? Shout out to socials.
You can find me on literally everything at Rainey Ovalle. That's my fucking government name because I feel like everybody hides behind a screen name now. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna let it fly as me. That's my whole brand. So, it's at Rainey Ovalle on everything: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Those are pretty much all my socials. On Twitch at Hearse Boys, twitch.tv/Hearse Boys. We stream a bunch of stuff, play a whole bunch of games. That's Rainey Ovalle on everything. So yeah, thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much for fucking having me.
You're welcome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for the conversation. It means a lot to me, for us to be here sharing this space as, Bronx nights.
You feel me?
Shout out to the Bronx. The Bronx is real heavy.
Yeah. I might name a song that. I might do a track called Bronx Nights.
That's tough.
That's hard,
tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Man. So, we definitely going to drop in 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? We got another Bronx guy, Ump, that's going to drop before us, but, we're going to run it up together.
Hell yeah.
I'm saying, so, peace and love. Take care. Peace and love, world. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, support the channel, show your love. You know what I'm saying? We having great conversation week in and week out. You never know who's coming. You never know what we're going to do. But at the end of the day, it's all about peace and love. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment.